Thank you for joining us. I'm Alicia Oakes, your host for the Cool Reader Show, in our second segment with two more cool readers from Northwest Middle School. First, I have joining us Sarah Grace Burton, who's going to be reading The Outsiders, a favorite, by S.E. Hinton. Sarah Grace, you told me something interesting about the author. Let's put that out just for everybody, just in case they don't know.
I did my research on S.E. Hinton because I was wondering who he or she was, just to kind of get like a taste for her and her writing. And I actually found that S.E. Hinton is a woman. She is a female, and she put her initials instead of her real name because she believed that people wouldn't buy that a girl could write a book about, you know, several guys and be accurate about it.
Right. So knowing that S.E. Hinton is a woman, and she's written a story, I mean, a really well-developed story about a group of young men. What type of research do you think she had to do in order to get information enough to write this kind of story?
I would think that she would have had a close relation with maybe a brother or just a close guy friend, just to, and she probably she hung out with a lot of guys when she was in middle and high school just to see how they act and see how they act around each other.
Okay, very good. Another interesting thing that you told me was that in this story, which is a memoir, the first sentence and the last sentence are the same. Who's telling the story? Whose memory is this?
It is actually Pony Boy's memory, and the first sentence and the last sentence is, when I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, I had only two things on my mind, Paul Newman and a ride home. And it actually ends, you find out that Pony Boy, since he had a lot of things going on in his life, he got distracted by his schoolwork and he wasn't doing too good in this one class. So a teacher came up to him and asked him to write a paper on a memory, and he chose to write this one, and you find out about that memory in the book.
How about that? So was Pony Boy your favorite character?
Yes, because of just his bravery, and also Soda Pop, because you know he was the peacemaker of the three brothers and of the group, of the whole Greaser group. He was the peacemaker, and he just was like, all right, let's figure things out instead of fighting. So they were all really good guys. So
yeah. You know, one of the things that I see that's very common or prevalent in society among young people is belonging to a group. How does that group involvement play out in this story?
Well, actually, there is two main groups that you hear about in the story, which is greasers and then there's socias. Greasers are people call them juvenile delinquents. They're just the skip out of school. They are the bad kids, and they are kind of low class. But then the socias, they're fully educated, they're higher class, and they just act, more smart, I guess, intelligent, excuse me.
Does S.E. Hinton do a great job good job in playing out dialogue between these characters to help you really see that the socias belong in this group and the greasers belong in this group? Does she do that well?
She does, actually, because you can tell by their dialogue and the way that they talk. You can tell who's educated and who's not. And, proper grammar is a thing, and then just how they talk back then. She uses that same dialogue in the book.
Okay. Share with us a passage that you've chosen to share with us today.
Oh, glory, Dally whispered. The church was on fire. Let's go see what the deal is, I said, hopping out. What for? Dally sounded irritated. Get back in here before I beat your head in. I knew Dally would have to park the car and catch me before he could carry out his threat, and Johnny was already out following me, so I figured I was safe. We could hear him cussing us out, but he wasn't mad enough to come after us. There was a crowd at the front of the church, mostly little kids, and I wondered how they'd gotten there so quickly. I tapped the nearest grown-up. Well, what's going on? Well, we don't know for sure, the man said with a good-natured grin. We were having a school picnic up here, and the first thing we knew, the place is burning up. Thank goodness this is a wet season, and the old thing is worthless anyway. Then to the kids, he shouted, "Stand back, children. The firemen will be coming soon." I bet we started it, I said to Johnny. We must have dropped a lighted cigarette or something. About that time, a lady came running up. "Jerry, some of the kids are missing. They're probably around here somewhere. You can't tell with all this excitement where they might be." "No," she shook her head. "They've been missing for at least half an hour. I thought they were climbing the hill." Then we all froze. Faintly, just faintly, you could hear someone yelling, and it sounded like it was coming from inside the church. The woman went white. "I told them not to play in the church. I told them." She looked like she was going to start screaming, so Jerry shook her. "I'll get them, don't worry." I started at a dead run for the church, and the man caught my arm. "I'll get them. You kids stay out." I jerked loose and ran on. All I could think was, we started it. We started it. We started it.
This was really a turning point in the story, wasn't it?
It was.
I mean, everything kind of led up to this point, but this was almost climactic in the energy that the story has. I don't think we need to tell our viewing audience anything else.
No, ma'am. I
Because they
can't
got
think
to
of
read it for
anything.
themselves.
Yes, you got to figure out for yourself.
It's that good. It's that good. Thank you, Sarah Grace, for
Thank
sharing
you.
The Outsiders with us.